Hi everybody. We are in the book of Daniel, chapter 3, from verses 1 to 30 all the way to the end, whole chapter. This is session 2. So we pick it up from where we left it the previous session 1. Because it's in the same book. So here we have the image of God and blazing furnace. Okay, so what happened before? Before this, we got a recap from what happened in previous chapters. So we're talking about Daniel, how he ended up in Babylon by the king of Babylon, and Nebuchadnezzar besieged the country, the cities, and capture Daniel and 3 more of his friends, Hebrew friends, Jewish, and they ended up after 3 years they study everything. They became the wisest, the very wise and intelligent in Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom in Babylon. He had a dream, and the dream reflected. So because of that dream, it was the head was gold. It was like more like a statue with the ramification, and from the gold and silver, bronze, and it goes all the way to the down like a person, and to the end there was like a metal with clay, and he had a dream, and then Daniel helped him interpret the dream. Now it connects with this one. Why? Because after the image he had, so it's Daniel is not just like he's telling him what he dreamed about, because Nebuchadnezzar, he would not remember. So, and then according to that dream, now he says, okay, if I'm the head and I'm gold, that was a revelation from God just today. If I am the head and is gold, then let me make a whole statue of gold, and that will be reflecting Nebuchadnezzar, the king of the Babylon, and because he is the most powerful, because he captured conquer another country, and so he thought he was the most high God himself. Okay, so he builds an image, and this is how big it is. King Nebuchadnezzar made an image of gold, 60 cubits high and 6 cubits wide, and set it up and plain during the province of Babylon, where actually Daniel was ruling. He became he was ruling in the province of Babylon. And then it says, like, when all these instruments starting to play, then everybody will bow down. So they put it in the province, they set it up, and everybody's supposed to bow down to the image which portrayed that was King Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, the image, of course, we know it's an idol, and Jewish will not bow down to an idol, and they will never do, and that's very wise, because we know they were very wise. So all of and then everybody was watching, make sure everybody is fell down. We are in verse, and it tells, like, when you hear the sounds of all those instruments, you must fall down, worship the image of God that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And if whoever, verse 6, whoever does not fall down and worship will immediately be thrown into a blazing furnace. Okay, and people, as soon as they were horrified, as soon as they heard that, they bowed down And it says people of every language fell down and worshipped the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Okay. At this time, okay, when verse 8, the enemy is showing his teeth. At this time, some astrologers are not doing the work of God. Astrologers are different. The enemy was reading in stars, but in the God ways, and astrologers are not. They are doing an evil way, more like witchcraft and all that. So at this time, some astrologers came forward, I highlighted there, and denounced the Jews. And they told that King Nebuchadnezzar, there are some Jews that, let's go here, who pay no attention, which is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Daniel is not mentioned here. He is in the palace, and I think the one in the palace didn't have to do nothing with what was outside the palace. But these three, we know from the previous chapters, like chapter 2, Daniel specific wanted his friends to be in charge, like administrators over the province of Babylon, while Daniel was remaining in the royal court, in the palace. Okay, so those were not affected in the royal court, in the in the palace, but everybody else. And then so we are, and it says like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, pay no attention to you, your majesty. They neither serve your gods nor worship the image of gold you have set up. Again, we see furious with rage because he is who he was. Summoned 3 Hebrew people, friends of Daniel. They were probably the same age. They studied together. They passed everything together. So he's asking them, did you, and this is, okay, whenever you didn't do before, I want you right now, as soon as you hear the flute, pipe, all kinds of music, I want you to bow down right now and worship the image right now. If you're not, you'll be in the blazing furnace. And then he says, then, we are in verse 15. It says, then what God will be able to rescue, we are here in this gap here, will be able to rescue you from my hand. Really? Because he thought he was the God. He was God. Yes. Look what I say. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to me, King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown in the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, because we don't know the will of God, the way of God, we don't know. So it says, even he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. Now that make we know Nebuchadnezzar was furious. He got much more furious, and he ordered that would be big men with heated furnace, 7, I highlighted there, 7 times, I underlined it, sorry, the furnace 7 times more than usually, and get the stronger soldier in his army to tie them up, make sure they will not escape, they will not run away. You tie them up, unless it's, something else, but with a rope, that was going to burn out. But maybe tied up with more like shackles or something else, I don't know. And threw them in the blazing furnace. So these men wearing their robes, trousers, turbans, and other clothes were bound and thrown into the blazing furnace. They're talking about the Hebrews, okay? So the king commands this, was says urgent, and the furnace too hot that the flames of fire killed the soldiers who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men firmly tied fell into the blazing furnace. God, this is fate. It's fate. And these 3, I would say, young men, it shows fate. They will not bow to no other gods. They know who God of Israel is. They knew. They went through probably some other situations, and but they will not give out on God. And not just that, it's like, haha, all right, now I got them. And this says in verse 24, then King Nebuchadnezzar leaped to his feet in amazement and asked his advisors, weren't there 3 men that we tied up and threw into the fire? They replied, certainly, your majesty. He said, the king said, look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed. And I underline, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods. He recognized why he knew the 4th one was different. Because somebody says like it was God himself. Some say it was an angel. God sent his angel to rescue them, but how he recognized the 4 men? Because didn't look like the other ones. He didn't look like he was from this earth. Either a shiny beam, highlight white clothing, went to rescue them. Then verse 26, Nebuchadnezzar then approached the opening of the blazing furnace and shouted, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here. All right. He knew that. Okay, so it's the second time. It was previous with Daniel, with a dream that, okay, the Most High God give you even the dream that I dreamed and all that. So recognize there is a high God. Now is the second time. So God is showing that who God is through this. That's why we have to stay in our place. Don't give up to no other idols, nothing else. Stay, secure your place, stay in there. Why? Because it wasn't about them. It was about King Nebuchadnezzar. He's trying his heart. He's wanna win him over. He wanna get him to know who real God is. Who God is. Not his gods, but who God really is. And this is the second time God is approaching him in this way to show that I rescue them and I demonstrate to the king that there's a higher God than any other gods he knows. Okay, so he's trying to win him over, to get his heart to melt and recognize who God is. Okay. Approach opening. Okay, we are here. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire and the straps. All these governors, advisor, crowd around them. Now they inspect them. Okay, they saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was a hair of their heads singed, like burned or touched. Their robes were not scorched, and there was no smell of fire on them. When you burn something in the fire, it smells. there was nothing. It's like they didn't even touch them with nothing. Verse 28, then Nebuchadnezzar said, praise be, he was so amazed, then he realized there's a higher God. I hope that will change him. We don't know yet till we dive in the other ones, in the other chapters, but I hope it changed him, because that's what God is trying his heart. Praise to be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied the king's command and were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any god except their own God. Wow. You have to testify in front of the king, guys. It's hard, but it's not impossible. Faith, it takes you there. Therefore, I decree that the people of any nation or language who say anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be cut into pieces in their houses, be turned into piles of rubble, for no other gods can serve in this way. Then the king, now it comes, so because of their faith, God let them be promoted and lifted up. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Wow. I'm not sure what you want to take back with this story. If you or we, I would say we, because I'm included, if we don't give out, no matter the circumstances, and we keep our faith, we'll keep our ground, God can prove who he is through us. And not just that, at the end we get rewarded. If you don't get rewarded on this earth, definitely we get awarded when we come to him in heaven. We don't lose heaven. Just keep your ground. God is with you. He got you. All right. And this concludes this lesson for the day. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy it. Until next time, we'll say goodbye. Bye now.